Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na magigilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.
Good afternoon everyone. Isang magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. It's nice to see every one of you kahit virtually. Salamat po for tuning in sa atin pong sa pagbabalik ng ating PSC Weekly Facebook Live. Ito po ang People's Sports Conversations, and today is January 27. January 27. It's a Thursday, and alam niyo po, every Thursday magkakasama po tayo to bring the latest updates on Philippine sports. And this is our first episode for 2022. Yun, hooray. And if you're watching, pwede na po kayo mag-comment right now, and would be very happy na kayo po ay batiin sa mga nanonood po sa atin. Kay Earl J. Gonzaga, kay Kaloy Cruz, sa mga nanonood po sa atin, good afternoon po sa inyo. We have a lot of things in store for every one of you ngayong hapon na ito. Kaya hindi na po natin pagtatagalin. Ang Philippine Sports Commission po ay nag-celebrate ng aming 32nd anniversary. So, on behalf po ng ating mga PSC workforce na watching, na happy anniversary po sa atin last Monday. We celebrated that. And para po dyan ay ibabahagi po namin sa inyong lahat ang mga accomplishment reports coming from our PSC Commissioners. Ayan po, sila po ay nagbahagi sa atin ng kanilang mga accomplishment reports for 2021, some of them for the whole, for their term. And yan po, we're gonna flash that a few minutes from now, pero batiin ko lang po, sabi ni Jason Balabay, good afternoon. Yun din ang sabi ni Solis Francis. Si Ma'am Rosita Bangala, who's always watching us, sabi niya good afternoon to everyone. And good afternoon po to PSC, sabi ni Ma'am Rebma. So, I think we're good to go. Uunahin na po natin, panoorin niyo po, we're gonna share this video of the accomplishment reports coming from our PSC Commissioners Arnold Agustin, Ramon Fernandez, Commissioner Celia Kiram, and Commissioner Charles Maxey. Tingnan niyo po ang ating screen ngayong hapon na ito. Let's flash our video.
To the Philippines Para Games, which is project, and under my oversight, since it is a PWD events. So we all know that the year 2021 was a challenging year for all of us, especially for the program that I support, which is the Grassroots Sports Development Program for people with disabilities. Despite the pandemic, we were able to accomplish our webinar series for para sports and the 2021 Pilipinas Para Games. So it served nearly 2,000 current and aspiring coaches, para-athletes, and also the members of the general public. So we were able to collaborate with the National Council on Disability Affairs unit of the local government units across the country. And we have already coordinated that project with the Philippine Paralympic Committee and the Philippine Sports Association for Differently Abled, or the PSPADA. Contracted the Integrated Philippine Association of Optometrists Incorporated to classify the athletes. Where back in 2018, the partnership was just a dream, but seeing it come to fruition for the PWD community, and it is my proudest achievement. This year, 2022, with the massive participation of para-athletes nationwide and their feedback in our survey forms, we will continue webinar series for para sports and the Philippines Para Games with the mission of catering to more para sports categories available to reach a wider participation of our para-athletes and coaches, like medical classifiers who are knowledgeable in classifying para-athletes. So this year we would like also to focus on them, because if we have enough medical classifiers who are professionally trained to classify potential para-athletes, we will discover more para-athletes in the future. My message to our PWD community, I'd like you to know that we all did amazingly well in 2021. And I'm confident that we will do even better in 2022. So we have planned programs and events to inspire you and keep the fire burning within each of you. So I can assure you that we at the Philippine Sports Commission, led by our good chairman, William Ramirez, will always be dedicated in the strengthening and development of para sports in the country.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to greet all our viewers this afternoon. A very pleasant Thursday afternoon to all of you. Just have to remind you, let's keep ourselves safe all the time. Let's follow the protocols, the minimum standard health protocols. No? So magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Well, yes, we were pretty busy, really, since we started our term. No, we have had several sporting events here, especially here in the Visayas, where I am oversight. No, we went around the whole of the Visayas, from Siquijor to Aklan, Biliran, Samar, Bohol, Negros Oriental, Negros Occidental, Leyte, Iloilo, Southern Leyte, and Cebu, no? And there were a lot of coaching certifications also that were going on. In total, there were easily 44 projects that we did, no? Although for coming 2022, merong 5 provinces na hindi natin nabigyan ng project, but we've scheduled for the first half of 2022. These are in Eastern Samar and Samar, Northern Samar, I believe, Antique, Capiz, and Guimaras. No, there will be consultative sports planning meetings in Eastern Samar and Samar, no? Tuturuan natin sila ng ating mga PSC facilitators on how to set up their sports commissions in their cities and municipalities and even the province, no? While in Antique, Capiz, and Guimaras, these are island provinces or cities, we will be doing children's games for us, our project, to complete the whole Visayas na nabisita natin lahat. No? So we're looking forward. We should start this remaining 5 provinces sometime in February, all the way to May 28. No? Yes, also we had what we call in 2018 the PSC Visayas Open events. No, we chose 15 individual Olympic sports, and we had a quarterly tournament. No, first quarter, second, third. In the fourth quarter, it was already the championships for the podium finishers of the first to the third quarters. No, it was sad that unfortunate that we were not able to follow this up with the Mindanao Games and Luzon Games, but just the same, our term will be ending on June 30, so I guess this has to be looked at by the next administration. No? Everything, all the programs are in place already, policies are in place, so all the next administration has to do is just to really look and study these programs and hopefully continue or improve on it. No? With our children's games program, naturuan at natuto yung mga tinatawag nating ate and kuya in all the barangays in the different municipalities and cities. No? So meron tayong tinrain na ate at kuya. So on their own, after we play there, sila na mismo, they can continue with the program. No? Like in sa children's games na lang, napakadaming bata ang na-inspire natin, na-motivate natin to pick up a sport or two. No? 3 children's games in 2017. It was in Bacolod, Bago, and San Carlos. We had 2 children's games in 2018 in Ormoc and Baybay. And then the Open Finals also, the Visayas Open Finals was in Ormoc. No? So with these children's games, yung talent identification natin na put in place din natin, nakikita natin kung sino yung mga bata na may mga athletic skills talaga, advanced athletic skills in their different ages. No, we had 2 children's games in Iloilo and Pasig. Visayas Games was also played there, and of course the talent identification. We had 6 children's games in Maasin, in Southern Leyte, in Maasin, Macroon, Liloan, Libagon, Hinunangan, and Limasawa. No, we had open water swimming in Limasawa in 2019, archery clinics in Limasawa. No, 8 children's games in Cebu. This was in Karkar, Naga, Danao, Alisay, and Bugo, Mandawi and Bugo, and even Malapascua Island. No? Of course, the PNG was held in Cebu also. In Naga City and Cebu City, there were open tennis open tournaments in Cebu, coupled again with talent identification. No? As far as the coaching certification program is concerned, we had 5 batches, about 450 coaches, and 381 of them passed the sports science certification. No? And we had 1 batch of 95 coaches for the Visayas Sports Science webinar. No? Total Visayas coaches who applied was 1,581. No? So all these municipalities and provinces and cities, they have coaches already that are ready. No? When the times normalize, the PSC can really start a grassroots, honest to goodness, grassroots sports programs. No? In all these localities. We cannot really plan much, no, because of the pandemic of the situation. No? We never know when this thing is controlled. No? So we will just finish with the programs that I mentioned in the coming months, and hopefully the next administration will continue on it. No? Yes, to all sports aficionados, please continue to support our athletes. Your support, your prayers has really helped our athletes very much. No, it motivated, it inspired them. It can clearly be shown by their performance since we came in 2016. No, 2017 in Malaysia, medyo malayo-layo ang pwesto natin, but doon nag-umpisa, no? After that, pinadala natin sila all over the world, all our athletes to compete at the highest level of competition, which bore fruit in the Asian Games of 2018 and 2019 SEA Games, no? And most importantly, their performance of our 19 athletes in the Tokyo Olympics, no? This is by far, I think, I proudly say our biggest accomplishment in our term, no? Being able to motivate and inspire our athletes to do their best. No, I've always believed that athletes are only as good as their competition, meaning you just have to send them to the best, to the topmost competition in the world stage, and they will surely improve, and which they have shown and leveled up their performances. Nag-step up talaga sila because of the exposure. What these athletes really need is exposure at the highest level of competition. I'd like to thank all our supporters, all our sports aficionados for their support. No, I'm pretty sure they're all aware now of what is the PSC. Kasi nung pagpasok namin, ang akala nila yung PSC parang PCSO din eh. So nalilito sila. But at least finally now, a lot of municipalities and cities and provinces have their own sports commissions already. So again, thank you to all those. Let's continue to support our athletes. No? We are doing all this para sa ating mga kabataan. This is the best way for me. It's the best way to lure them away from the bad vices like drugs and others. Thank you very much.
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat at Happy New Year po. Sana'y lahat kayo ay healthy at safe at pati ang inyong mahal sa buhay. At naway malampasan natin itong pandemya. Ako'y labis na natutuwa. May kasabihan nga na ang lahat ng bagay ay may rason. No? Itong pandemya to nagbigay ng rason para yung women in sports na ginagawa namin ay mabigyan pansin. Meron kaming Rise Up, Shape Up na programa ng Women in Sports. Nakikita lahat yung aming ginagawa doon. So at nabibigyan ng pansin na nabigyan namin ng empowerment. Hindi lang yung mga kababaihan, pati yung mga local government units na maghanap din ng mga empowered women doon sa kanilang mga locality. Bilang parangal, binigay namin yung sa Gintong Gawad Award, no, para sa mga kababaihan kung saan meron tayong 8 criteria doon sa grassroots level. Yung aming barangay na dati namin ginagawa, no, ay ginawa namin online, no, at nakita namin ang dagsa ng partisipasyon. Ako'y labis na natutuwa kasi lahat ng winish ko at hinangad ko nung ako'y umupo bilang commissioner at naging oversight commissioner on women in sports ay aking nagawa. At naging Oversight Commissioner on Women in Sports ay aking nagawa. We have barely 5 months to go. How I wish gawin din ng mga susunod na mga board of directors lalo na sa women in sports, yung aming nagawa, masundan uli ito. Pagpatuloy din yung pagbibigay, pugay at karangalan doon sa ating mga grassroots women in sports, na yung mga hindi natin nagagawa, ang dami pala dyan na dapat matuklasan natin. Lahat po kayo ay inaanyayahan namin suportahan ang programa pang-sports ng Philippine Sports Commission. So po, lahat po ito ay magbibigay kaalaman sa inyo kung paano kayo ma-empower. Ito ay pagbibigay ng inspirasyon, no? Nagawiin pa ng maraming kababaihan, ng maraming kalalakihan, ang pag-empower ng bawat bata, bawat magulang, bawat namumuno sa komunidad na through sports, marami tayong pwedeng magawa. Magandang araw sa inyo.
The Philippine Sports Commission, being the sole sports governing body in the country, remains determined in promoting and implementing its mission, vision, and mandates to our beloved stakeholders. Despite the limitations brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, the PSC continued to innovate ways and means to implement various programs just to effectively reach out to different target communities. The conduct of the Indigenous Peoples Games of our dear brothers and sisters from the Indigenous Peoples Community has been one of the priority grassroots and sectoral sports programs of the Commission in partnership with the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. In 2021, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and time when everything shifted to the online platform, we initiated and implemented various programs aimed to educate our stakeholders of the importance of preserving, promoting, and propagating the traditional sports and games of the Indigenous peoples and the Indigenous peoples' cultural community. Bannering our activities in the online platform is the Indigenous Sports and Games webinar series, preserving and promoting the rich cultural heritage of our ancestors. Through this program, we have invited some of the distinguished experts from various organizations and institutions from the Philippines and from other parts of the globe. Over the course of the 7 webinar sessions, which kick off in June and culminated in December, we have gathered some 2,500 participants composed of educators, local government officials, and stakeholders of the indigenous cultural communities. Another activity that the PSC conducted in the online platform is the 2021 Indigenous Peoples Traditional Sports and Games online photo contest. A total of 50 amateur and professional photographers took part in the activity. Through this event, we were able to showcase the popular and still unknown traditional sports and games of the indigenous peoples through the postings of the photos on PSC's social media pages. Meanwhile, to further provide assistance to the indigenous cultural community, the Commission procured provisions to be donated to various stakeholders promoting and the traditional sports and games of the indigenous peoples. Procured provisions include t-shirts, tinalak backpacks, abaca fiber shoulder bags, bamboo notebooks and ballpens, towels, and gongs. Some of these provisions were already donated to the provincial government of Sarangani, municipality of Malungon, provincial government of Benguet, and Palawan. The remaining provisions are set to be donated this year to our partners. Highlighting the year 2021 was the partnership of the PSC, NCIP, National Historical Commission of the Philippines, and the National Quincentennial Committee for the 2021 Quincentennial Commemorations in the Philippine Activities. The PSC and NCIP were invited by NQC to produce an exhibition of the traditional sports and games of the indigenous peoples via live performance or through a pre-recorded video. This was staged during the pandemic, so we decided to have a pre-produced mini documentary for our first leg. Cebu City was identified as the location for the first leg. The Bajau Indigenous Cultural Community was selected as the tribe who will be featured in the mini documentary. Featured in the 10-minute long video output are the Bajau's traditional dance called Kulintangan, along with their traditional sports and games called Sipa, Patsa, and Kadang-Kadang. For our second leg, the commission featured the Blaan Indigenous Cultural Community from the Municipality of Malungon, Province of Sarangani. Showcase traditional dances of the Blaan ICC include the Aral Cafe or Eagle Dance and Aral Mla or the Planting Rice. The traditional sports and games performed were fire-making drill, running, horse racing, javelin throw, breathing underwater, gamti or pana, blow dart, and high jump. All of these were exhibited in another pre-recorded video. Both videos were aired via the Radio Television Malacanang, PSC Indigenous Peoples Games, and NQC Facebook pages. In the last quarter of 2021, the Commission continued to discover and promote more traditional sports and games, this time from the indigenous peoples from the province of Benguet. The activity in the province of Benguet resulted to the documentation of the traditional sports and games that include tug of war, slingshot, human cockfighting, leg wrestling, arm wrestling, pickup wrestling, bayo sa palay, duck race, and salikaw-kaw. The lone traditional dance featured was the Tinaktakyag dance. The documentation proper was conducted in La Trinidad, Benguet. For the year 2022, we are very optimistic and hopeful that we will continue what we have started for the Indigenous Peoples Games program, be it via online platform or through face-to-face implementation. We are committed to work with the NCIP to further promote, propagate, and preserve the rich culture of the indigenous peoples here in the Philippines. We would like to assure our brothers and sisters of the IP community of government's continued support in all your endeavors.
Okay lang ba?
All right, there you have it. Napakinggan niyo po ang mga reports, no, and expectations from our PSC commissioners for this 2022. Maraming salamat po again to our commissioners, Commissioner Arnold Agustin, Commissioner Celia Kiram, Commissioner Ramon Fernandez, and Commissioner Charles Maxey. I now turn it over sa atin pong guest MC this afternoon na makakausap po ang ating mahal na chairman. Can we all welcome our guest MC from the POC Media Group, Mr. June Navarro, together with our Chairman William Butch Ramirez. Sir, magandang hapon po sa inyo. Sir June, go ahead po.
Okay. Good afternoon, Joash. At
Recording in progress.
Nanonood at bumubuo ng Philippine Sports Commission's People's Sports Conversation. This is June Navarro of the Philippine Daily Inquirer and the president of the PSC POC Media Group. It's really a pleasure for having me here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, good afternoon po sa atin pong butihing chairman, Chairman Butch. Magandang hapon po.
All right. Welcome once again to the PSC People's Sports Conversation live here at the PSC Facebook. Again, this is June Navarro, your guest host this afternoon. We have a very, very special guest, a sports official that I would like to introduce to you this afternoon. Today's discussion will be very informative as it centers on the insights of no less than the chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission. Let's welcome ang minamahal nating PSC Chairman, William Butch Ramirez.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Welcome ulit sa PSC's People's Sports Conversation. Kamusta na po kayo?
Mabuti po.
Recording stopped.
We are trying to finalize many things at the PSC.
Recording in progress.
Coordination with the NSA in preparation for the bubble training and preparing for the whole activities for the year, both grassroots and elite athletes, John.
Okay, Chairman, without further ado, umpisahan po natin ang talakayan sa pinakamainit na issue ngayon sa Philippine sports. The controversy between pole vault star EJ Obiena and his mother sports association, the Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association. Chairman, with the burning issue about EJ Obiena and Patafa nowhere near from reaching a peaceful resolution, what is the PSC's current stand on this?
Of course, EJ Obiena is just one athlete out of more than 1,000 national athletes of the national delegation. The problem is an internal problem of the sports association of Patafa. And EJ Obiena belongs to that association and it's internal matters. But since lumabas yan sa publiko and naging national, international issue, the Philippine Sports Commission since first week of December was emphasizing the role of our accounting office. And the accounting office are the repository of the liquidation documents from the sports association, from the athletes. And once I was informed by Chief Accountant Eric Mayores that we received the liquidation of EJ Obiena. And this is subject for COA post-audit, John.
Okay. Well, Chairman, as we all know, the PSC exhausted all efforts to bring both parties to the mediation table together, no? And yet, hindi nangyari. Were you disappointed?
Yes, I'm very disappointed. As a matter of fact, mediation is something that we stand for because it is the best option. It is the best option to seek resolution of the matter. However, there should be a voluntary willingness from both parties, something that is not possible at the moment, but PSC is open for that now. It is the best option that we have. Contrary to what has been wrongly claimed, that mediation does not silence the truth. In fact, it is aimed at ferreting the truth since it offers a safe, neutral ground for discussion for both parties to clarify issues without the noise of the outside world. It is an opportunity for both parties to lay down their cards and where we can seek ways to address issues without judgment, a place where facts will speak. So we are sad because the elite athletes is under the principles of Olympicism that speaks about friendship, respect, excellence, forgiveness. And this is happening in our Philippine sports. And, the mandate of the Philippine Sports Commission, our oversight to the elite athletes, to the NSAs, due to the funding of people's money. And it is for this reason that we would like them to get reconciled. And the PSC is still open, John, for mediation, in spite of the withdrawal of AJ.
Chairman, moving forward, what are the things that the PSC are doing right now after the mediation ay hindi nangyari?
Well, of course, before I'll proceed, John, We have one delegate to the Beijing Olympics on February, and we are seeking the inspiration of our Filipino people from the whole archipelago to pray for Asa Miller and the delegation under Ship de Mission Bons Floro for the Winter Olympics. So we wish him all the best, and the Filipino people are praying for him. And second, we would like to take recognition of the Philippine Football Association, especially the women's football, who have shown tremendous, there are many phases of success. And the Philippines is numbering not a very good number, but against a number 11 in the world, Australia. And I think we give them a difficult game for that. And we would like to recognize the efforts of the Women's Football Association of the Philippines. I hope we can see the video of that, especially when they beat Thailand. This is a good news for Philippines. And there are many other outstanding performance of our athletes, June, that Muay Thai, Ilarmino, and other successful athletes. Yun nga lang, we are bothered by this internal problem of Patafa and Ethiopia. But I'm very sure that time will heal between the two.
Congratulations sa mga national athletes natin. Chairman,
Yep.
What is the extent of your support nga pala sa Winter Olympic Games?
Philippine Olympic Committee wrote us a letter requesting for funding. The board approved 3.3 million of their delegation. So it's a tropical country. It's nice to speak about a tropical country participating in Winter Olympics. And we're very happy of the family of Asa Miller that they raised their own funds sa United States, June. Ang gastos lang ng Philippine Sports Commission itong pagpunta sa Beijing Olympics. There are many athletes whose parents spend their own money, and if not, they seek funding from the private sectors. Because after all, whether you are a rich or poor country, it's always a money problem.
Well, as you've mentioned kanina, Chairman, I hope everything ends well between EJ and Batapan. Now, let's go to the country's preparations sa Southeast Asian Games. Kamusta na po ba ang mga training facilities natin for the preparation for the SEA Games?
We received a communication from IATF requesting for the extension of our 3 facilities, the Rizal Memorial Stadium, the multipurpose gym, which was the Ninoy, and also the field sport gym, which is Ultra. It numbering more than, I think, 364 beds. So we embrace the request of the IAT because it's about the fight of our COVID infections of the country, and that's our contribution to the national government. But at any rate, in spite of that, there are only few events that will take place in Rizal, field sports, and Baguio. Other teams have been practicing June. No? For example, boxing, track and field have been practicing in Baguio, and I think Karate Do will go to Baguio. Kano kayak is in Samar Leyte, and fencing and pentathlon is in Ormoc. And our other athletes, as swimmers and track and fields, are still on their overseas training in the US. Yolu is in Japan, and EG, in spite of his problem, I think is still practicing. So while the facilities are preparing, and at any time the committees of Attorney Roy, Mark, and Chef de Mission Com Fernandez, anytime they will allow one at a time NSA to go inside these PSC facilities for bubble training.
That said, Chairman, I suppose it's going to be a successful campaign again for us coming SEA Games Vietnam. Well, yes.
I will leave that matter to the NSA, who is in charge of our athletes, no? And the POC who's leading the delegation. After all, they're in charge of the training of athletes, and PSC is funding the delegation and its training.
Chairman, with 5 months left in the office, no, what do you intend to do as you wrap up your second term as PSC chairman?
Well, I've been reminding the executive director down the line to the MANCOM to prepare all the necessary playbook, some sort of a standard operating procedures for the incoming chairman and board of commissioners to look at it for their guides, what we did for the past 6 months, for the past 6 years. Second, after all, some of the challenges of the PSC, we learn a lot of lessons. As a matter of fact, kahit itong internal problem ng Patapa and their athlete, we learn a lot of lessons on this. So all of these will be the components of the documents, the guides that we will turn over to the incoming chairman and commissioners incoming July 1.
Recording stopped.
Chairman, magbalik
Recording in
tayo tayo
progress.
the past 5 years, no? Past almost 6 years in office, no? What are the accomplishments of the PSC that you would like to highlight since you took office in 2016?
As much as possible, ayokong magsalita about the success of the Southeast Asian Games, the Asian Games, and even the Tokyo Olympics, where we got gold medals, silvers, and bronze. Because after all, this is a collective work of athletes, sports association, the Philippine Olympic Committee, especially the government, the people's money. No? We spend from 2016 to up to this time, we spend almost more than 4 billion pesos for the training facilities, sports equipment. I would like to credit that one to the collective spirits of the Filipino people, especially the money of the Filipino people, which was allocated by Congress and approved by the executive, by Malacanang. So, but we give credits where credits is. We will recognize the athletes who worked very hard, not only for this year. When we assume office to 16 June, these athletes had been here in the national team. We were just lucky that when we took over, we have the money. So on the first month of the first year, 2016, we spent 600 million for the foreign training, foreign exposure. Then on the second year, 2017, we spent 800 million. In yung 2019, we spent more than 1 billion. Then up to the time na nag-pandemic na wala ng pera. But I think out of those exposures, I still believe that the athletes are prepared for any international competition. And I take pride to be the chairman. I take pride that I'm the chairman of this magical time na naka-gold tayo. No? Naka-gold tayo. At it is something that we have to look at ano bang ginawa ng mga NSAs, ano bang ginagawa ng POC, ano bang ginawa ng PSC, bang ginawang atleta. What we did, John, was that we have more than 100 athletes to qualify to the Olympics. So it started on 2016. Then we are preparing to 2016, 17 up to the SEA Games. Then dumaan yung Asian Games. So yung Southeast Asian Games, yung Asian Games was a very good repertoire of preparation to the Olympics. So out of 100, we had 19 athletes who were qualified. And out of 19, meron tayong 4 na nakamedalya. But, you know, to those athletes who have not obtained medals, we have to salute the golfer, the rower, the shooter, and the skate, and all other athletes, even those who were not were not qualified to Olympics. We have to recognize them. They gave their best. No? They gave their best, their time, their focus, and their sacrifices. And this is the beauty of sports, where you gain discipline, the values, the virtues that you develop, and that even if you become a superstar, you still embed that values you have, because the more you become a superstar, the more you become an elite of the elite athletes, the more you are the more there is so much an expectation of an example, no? That that there will be an emulation. You'll be a center of inspiration among the youth for the future leaders of this country. But there is so much governance to improve the governance. You know, John, one of the virtues, one of the principles I've learned from my French Canadian schools, the MIC, and later the Jesuits, was you have to be alert to the environment. And time are changing. We must change. We must transform. Our athletes are becoming smarter, becoming brighter. Then governance in POC and NSA must also shift to some level of transformation. Parang mga anak natin itong mga bata. So, but then again, values since time immemorial have not changed, the virtues. So this is one of the most prized thing that here we can obtain in sports, values, virtues. That after you're playing, after you're coaching, administration, you become an important citizen of this country where you can contribute for nation building.
Indeed, Chairman, it was a magical year para sa atin, ano? But you're still considered as the sports official who has that Midas touch.
Oh, lucky. I said lucky guy.
we won the SEA Games overall title on both occasions, that you are PSC chairman in 2005 and 2019. We were able to bring home 4 gold medals from the Asian Games in 2006 and 2018, both of which were the highest gold productions of the country in these games. And now, an Olympic gold medal under your administration. May gusto ko ba bang ma-achieve as a sports official, Chairman?
Ano na lang, halos wala na akong masabi dyan. It will be a big joy and satisfaction on myself leaving PSC on June 30. But I will still be relevant to Philippine sports. No? Hindi ko maalam kung anong mangyari sa akin, but I'm still a very healthy 71 years old. If I have an opportunity to serve sports again in Mindanao or other places, I will be there. No? But again, I will go back to my own topic, John. Papasalamatan natin tong taong bayan kasi it's people's money. Papasalamatan natin yung presidente who believe in us. Papasalamatan natin yung mga congressman, mga senador na nag-appropriate ng pera kasi kung wala din yon, wala tayong pera sa Southeast Asian Games, wala tayong pera sa Asian Games, wala tayong pera sa Olympics. So it's really a collective one. So I'm hoping that this practices and this phenomenon that we are having in Philippine sports can be replicated if not improved in the coming years to come. So magiging batayan to sa future governance, saka leadership ng both PSC, NSC, and POC. Pero matuto tayo, malaking bagay yung wala naman sikreto dito, John. Pero ako, naniniwala ako, hard work, plus a lot of humility, generosity, understanding. Kasi kung wala kang humility, lalo na pag bright ka, you keep on arguing, you keep on discussing, you keep on talking that you are right. At nagkagulo na tayo. So malaking bagay yan. And I think the virtues that I've learned in sports is so important that when I go back to the classroom as a teacher in political science, in history, in governance, malaking bagay pa rin kasi yung pagka-abogado mo, pagka-doktor mo, pagka-PhD mo, plus factor lang yan dyan eh. Malaking bagay yung nasa puso mo, yung values mo. So itong natutunan ko sa buhay, that's why I am quite sentimental that I'll be leaving an organization that made me, shaped me since 2000, before 2000. Halos 15 years ako dito dyan. 5 taon akong commissioner sa panahon ni Irap ng 4 months at saka kay President GMA ng mga more than 4 years. Then nag-chairman ako. Then from there, bumalik ako kay kay President Duterte, umabot ako ng 15 years. So mahirap naman if we don't deliver. People will question us na sana ba yung experience. So malaking bagay yung experience yun at saka yung attitude mo to serve with urgency, with sincerity sa trabaho. Matutunan lahat na bagay dyan, pero pag wala kang panahon, wala kang focus sa trabaho mo, no matter how bright you are, wala rin yun.
Chairman, if the next administration makes you an offer to continue as PSC chairman, would you accept the offer?
I hope I will not insult the next leaders, but sinasabi ko sa sarili ko na it's really time to go. We have to give some people a chance to lead PSC. He can be young, he can be of age, for as long as he has time. That's number one, has time. And of course, his competence, his experience, and his heart to serve here, PSC. Then he must understand the existence of PSC na para sa atleta. Ang Philippine Sports Commission para sa atleta, preferential to the athletes. However, the PSC chairman and the commissioner must understand the nature of the sports association, is public relation. Yung public relation na yan, John, hindi siya libre. You have to spend time listening, talking, and also your understanding about POC. That the POC is our partner, NEC are our partners, but we are not under them. We are under the people, the government of the Philippines, and that we have a duty to be partner, especially on the elite. Yun nga lang, I'm sad because hindi naman neglected yung grassroots sports program. But we don't have the money, we don't have the manpower to empower our coordination activities with local government units throughout the country, with Department of Education, with CHED and the private sector. It's so enormous, and we are just a small agency. But in spite of that, we were able to do something in the grassroots sports program that we did, and we take pride on that. And I just hope that in the future, the money that is required by law to the PSC must be remitted to PSC, because one of the common problem is money. Kasi without money, kahit na magaling na chairman John, magaling ang NEC, magaling ang PSC, kung walang pera, wala rin yun. Money will provide you with facilities. Money will provide you with allowances of athletes. Money will provide you with coaches and foreign coaches. Money will provide foreign exposures. We don't have money to buy the sports science cutting edge, which other countries have. So it's all about money. That's the very reason why PAGCOR was created, is to take good care of the funding of PSC, because the general appropriation budget that we are receiving is just minimal. PAGCOR was there to really fund our both NSDF, the National Sports Development Fund, and Grassroots Sports Program.
Chairman, last question na lang. Sabi niyo, you've mentioned na napapabayaan natin yung grassroots sports development, no, due to the ongoing pandemic. What are the projects ba na nakalinya for grassroots sports from now until June?
Marami, John. Ang problema lang, tumaas yung infections. So bumalik kami sa virtual activities because I took back the grassroots sports program effective January 1. No? May mga program kami sa Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao. Balak sana namin ibalik yung children's games, yung Indigenous game, at saka lalo na yung mga coaches education na kulang, lalo na sa mga probinsya, no? Kasi kulang din ang pera ang local government units. So yun ang, I hope I could still work with the congressman and senators. Nagpaparinig ako because I'll be working in Mindanao. Kasi hindi naman kaya ng PSC na trabawin lahat ang grassroots sports program. Then, you really have people on the ground, John, yung coordinators to coordinate with local government units. Kasi kung wala kang tao doon, yung talent identification. Ang sabi nga ni Stajek, yung coach ng football, without grassroots sports program, it's impossible for us to continue recruiting field foreigners. Kasi first, although ang advantage ng field foreigners, lalo na sa Amerika, grabe yung confidence. No? Pero yung lumalabas, nagsashine sa ating atleta, mga full-fledged Filipinos, si Dylan Diaz, si Caloyulo, no? si AJ and others, these are Filipinos. And we have to believe on the Filipino athletes, Filipino coaches. So foreign exposures na lang tayo. Kaya very fortunate tong si Heidelin Diaz, si Yolo, si AJ and other athletes na funded siya by Filipino people, billions of money na hindi natitikman ng dating mga atleta. So yun, yung grassroots talaga kasi in a pyramidal structure, John, itong mga elite athletes nasa itaas dito. Pero ang pundasyon dito sa ibaba, ito ang pundasyon Kung wala kang pundasyon, mahirap yan. Kaya ang tendency, nagre-recruit ka ng mga field foreigners. Shortcut. That's not the ideal way of nurturing elite athletes. You've got to have a strong grassroots sports program. But to have a strong grassroots sports program, you have to work with local government units. Kulang man pero PSC. You have to work with DepEd because ang DepEd may captured students sila, millions. Then you have to work with DepEd, with CHED, with the state and college universities. So yun. But palakihin talaga ang Philippine Sports Institute sa field sports sa Pasig. Dapat meron ka talagang continuous of coaches education, may expertise ka, may mga cutting edge ka sa sports science, then foreign exposure. So yun talaga at saka isa pa, kagandahan yung kung malakas yung grassroots sports program natin and sports for all, marami mga batang mabibigyan ng mga maayos na good manners and right conduct na kailangan ng bayan.
Thank you very much po, Chairman Butch. Marami pa po akong katanungan, kaya lang po kukulangin na po tayo ng oras sa ating discussion. At dito po nagtatapos ang ating talakayan sa mga current issues sa Philippine sports na sakop ng Philippine Sports Commission. Maraming salamat po again, Chairman.
Maraming salamat po. Salamat po. Sana narinig ako ni AJ at saka ni Popoy at saka sa POC na magkaisa tayo. Kaisa tayo. Salamat.
Good luck, more power, and God bless. This is
Thank
your
you.
guest MC, Jun Navarro, here at the Philippine Sports Commission People's Sports Conversation.
Thank you, John.
Thanks
Sir
po,
Jun,
Chairman.
Sir Jun, maraming salamat po sa ating guest MC, Sir Jun Navarro. And again, maraming salamat po to our chairman, our beloved chairman, Chairman Butch Ramirez, for taking your time, Chairman, to share your thoughts on the PSC's accomplishment at the same time kung where we are right now. Magbabalik lang po ang People's Sports Conversations in a very, very short while. At sa pagbabalik po natin, we'll give you our trivia question for this afternoon kung saan may chance po kayong manalo ng exclusive giveaways from the PSC. Magbabalik po kami sa ilang paalala.
Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na magigilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.
Kami po ay nagbabalik dito po sa People's Sports Conversations. Napanood nyo lang po, no? Kanina lamang ang exclusive interview ni Sir Jun Navarro with our chairman, Chairman Butch Ramirez. Gusto po nating batiin lahat ng mga nanonood po sa atin ngayon live via our Facebook page. Salamat po sa inyong lahat. Marami po na kaming gustong batiin sa inyo and we'll take that time po, no? Sa ating pong susunod na episode. But for the meantime, kung kayo po ay nandito pa sa ating Facebook Live, meron po kayong chance na manala ng exclusive giveaways mula sa Philippine Sports Commission dahil tayo po, ilalabas po natin ang ating trivia question for this afternoon. Alright, kung alam nyo po ang kasagutan sa ating trivia question, medyo in relation po yan sa mga napanood nyo po kanina, no? From the reports from our commissioners and the interview with our chairman. Alam nyo po ang kasagutan sa ating trivia question. Kung we're gonna flash it right now, Ito po ang ating trivia question for this afternoon. There you go. We're flashing it. Ang atin pong tanong, ang PSC ay nagdidiwang ng kanilang blank anniversary. Pang-ilan na po ba ang anniversary to ng PSC? If you know the answer, i-comment nyo na po yan right now sa ating Facebook Live na may kasamang hashtag na I am Sports Positive. Ulitin po namin your answer na may kasamang hashtag na I am Sports Positive. At pipili po kami ng 3 winners from our viewers na makakasagot niya ng tama. Again, ang PSC ay nagdidiwang ng kanilang blank. Pang-ilang anniversary na po natin. I-announce po natin ang ating winners sa ating PSC social media account. So please stay tuned. And again, we'll also take this time to thank our sponsors. We're gonna flash their logos right now. Flash po natin yan ang ating mga sponsors. Thank you po for partnering with People's Sports Conversations. And syempre, we're taking this time din for everyone to know that if you want to know more about the PSC and what we do, please follow us. I-like nyo po and follow us sa aming mga social media accounts. We're gonna flash it also there. On PSC, you can find us on Facebook. Rather, dito po, i-like nyo po ating PSC Facebook page. We also have our Instagram account at Phil.SportsCommission. Pwede nyo po kami i-follow dyan. Together with our Twitter, follow us at PSC_Gov. We also have our YouTube channel. We're uploading po ating mga episodes from our recent programs and other programs as well. And lastly, yun po, lahat po ng mga official announcements, official news na pwede niyo pong abangan. You can always check our website at www.psc.gov.ph. Sa ngalan po na bumubuo ng programang ito, headed by our Chairman Butch Ramirez, and our 4 commissioners, maging sa ating pong production team, the Public Communications Office, headed by Miss Malene Bamba and the rest of the team. Maraming salamat po. This is our first episode for 2022. Magbabalik po ang People's Sports Conversations next Thursday for another episode of weekly Philippine sports updates and news. Maraming salamat po everyone. Stay safe and God bless.
Thank you.